Hey guys, I'm back. I am Simple Simon and we are 1 week away from UFC 238. There are 2 titles on the line in the main event and the co-main event, and I'm going to talk about 4 fights today. Let's do this. Okay, the first fight we're going to talk about is Jimmie Rivera versus Petr, how do you say it? I don't know, that Russian cat. Now when I first saw this fight, straight off the top of my head I just thought Rivera, just because Rivera's been around for a little while now. I've been quite a big fan of his, I'm quite high on his train. He has let me down a few times lately. Petr on the other hand, I remember his last fight, I think it was against John Dodson, how he just kept coming forward, wasn't scared of anything. Dodson's no easy fight for anyone, but remember Jimmie Rivera did also beat John Dodson. So it's a tough one. I feel like Jan hasn't got as many key victories. While I remember a lot of Rivera's fights, Rivera is very skilled on the feet. I believe he comes out of that same place as Uriah Hall comes out of. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but very good striking, pretty good takedown defense. He's beaten some big names. He is coming off a loss versus Aljamain Sterling. Yeah, so Rivera's had a few losses lately, which I wasn't expecting. I just thought Rivera was really well on his way to a title shot. Jan is one of those guys who just seems to come forward, he's not afraid of anything. He's a real tough guy, he's Russian, so he's got to be tough, right? I don't know which way I'm going to go. Originally I thought Rivera off the top of my head, but I feel like Jan is tough enough to just keep moving forward, stalk Rivera. I don't think Jan's going to get knocked out, so I think Rivera's only chance of winning is to knock him out, which I think Rivera could possibly do, but Jan has only got 1 loss so far and we're yet to see that. I think he lost a decision in his career, but yeah, I'm going to go with Jan on this one. Next fight, oh my god, Tony Ferguson is back and is fighting Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Woo! This is going to be fireworks. Cerrone in the past has lost when he's had a lot of key matchups like this, but if you've been following the sport lately, you'll know that Cerrone is just a rejuvenated Cerrone. Since he's become Daddy Cerrone, he's just like, yeah, like he said himself, he's got something to fight for now, and he's been really impressive in his recent matches. Ferguson coming off some controversy, I believe some assault charges or something like that, which I think he got off on. But Ferguson obviously is on a massive winning streak. He really should have had a title fight by now, which is absolutely ridiculous that he hasn't. He was stripped of his interim title that he won from Kevin Lee. This fight is going to be insane. Cerrone's biggest problem is when he loses the mental game. He can be defeated psychologically, I think. Ferguson is as tough as they come mentally. In his last, I think his last fight was the Petr fight, which was absolutely insane. He got hurt in that fight, but doesn't care. He's got that mental toughness. Cerrone has it too, but I just feel like Cerrone can be broken. We've seen it broken before, but obviously, like I said, we're talking about a different Cerrone here. We're talking about Daddy Cerrone. Off the top of your head, Ferguson is an easy pick, but I would not count out Donald Cerrone. As we saw, Ferguson got tagged, got caught by Petr. He happened to survive and still get the win. Cerrone absolutely can catch Ferguson on the feet as well as on the ground, but I'm going to have to go with Ferguson. I mean, how can you pick against that guy? He is so damn good. Ferguson for me. Now the women's flyweight title is between Valentina Shevchenko, I think this is her first title defense, versus Jessica Eye. I do not have a lot to say about this fight. I'm not a big fan of Jessica Eye. She had this one fight, I can't remember who it was. It might have been against Courtney Casey off the top of my head. I was not impressed by either girl's performance, and ever since then it's just left a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to Jessica Eye. She's had a few good wins though. I'm not a fan of the way she talks. She really talks herself up. And look, don't get me wrong, she is world class, I'm sure, but the way she talks herself up, I feel like she thinks she's at the top of the game. I don't think she is. Shevchenko is on a completely another level. I think Shevchenko is going to finish Jessica Eye. I think it's going to be a humiliating loss, though. For Jessica Eye, Shevchenko I just think is many levels above Eye in skill levels. Look, I could be wrong, I'm often wrong, but I'm going Shevchenko easily for me. In the main event, Henry Cejudo, the flyweight champ, takes on Marlon Moraes. Moraes is on an absolute streak right now, but Cejudo is coming off the 2 biggest wins of his career, beating Mighty Mouse obviously to win the flyweight strap, and then dethroning TJ as well, TJ Dillashaw. Very interesting fight. Moraes is I believe is probably the bigger man in this fight. Now I've been watching Moraes since World Series of Fighting. Yes, I was about that life. I used to watch World Series and Moraes really impressed me when he was in World Series. I believe back then he might still be, he was training with like Frankie Edgar and all those guys, so Moraes has been around for a while. He's not that well known, I think, in the world to new fans, but he's been around and he's been dominating. He's been a champion in other organizations. But for some reason, I'm just not huge on Moraes. He's lost me as a fan since he joined the UFC. I don't know what it is. It might be just the way he talks. I don't know. Or maybe it's because he's beating guys that I think he won't beat. I don't know. Who knows? But look, nonetheless, he has looked very impressive. Cejudo, on the other hand, has obviously looked amazing. Cejudo has this weird thing now where he does that whole karate, Conor McGregor almost like stance. He's very, very good when he's in that stance. Obviously, his wrestling is world class, but when he's striking, when he's in that stance, his striking is very, very good. However, the longer the fight goes, I find sometimes he stops with that stance and goes back to his old traditional stance. And that's where I find he sometimes gets in trouble. Look, he's really only lost ever to Mighty Mouse, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's bad at that other stance, but when he's in that karate stance, he's so quick, he's so hard to figure out. I just find as the fight goes on, sometimes he can't put his opponent away. He'll go back to his normal stance. He needs to stay in that karate stance, I think, to win this fight. The only chance of him, I believe, getting caught by Moraes is if he gets tired or something where he reverts back to his old stance. When he's in that karate stance, he is very, very good, and his wrestling, obviously, he's not going to be scared of getting taken down. If anything, he's going to be looking for that takedown and probably getting the fight finished on the ground. This one could go either way. Moraes just keeps impressing me, to be honest. I mean, I keep picking against him, but he has really impressed me with some of the finishes he's gotten recently. So yeah, I'm not going to go Moraes. I'm going to have to go Cejudo, but not saying Moraes can't win. I just think Cejudo is that damn good. I mean, hey, he dethroned Mighty Mouse, the greatest of all time. So yeah, I'm going to go with Cejudo on this one. Anyway, they're my picks for UFC 238. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Hopefully my record will still be above, I'll have a better win rate, because yeah, I was looking pretty bad there for a while. Hopefully it's just on the up from here, and I'll keep making these videos hopefully. So thank you for watching, and keep it simple.